already know what time it is. It's time for the Cat's Corner podcast with your host, Ernest the Cat Miller, three-time world karate champion, WCW legend, WWE legend, and Academy Award nominated film actor. And I am your co-host, Ray W. Don't mean to trouble you, Keziah, a.k.a. Big Shug, manager of future Hall of Famers. Today, we're going to talk about strength in wrestling and people that are strong. But before we do that, how about a word from our fantastic sponsor?
We're Resite. Of course we offer all-inclusive site work. We're Resite. Of course we have a dynamic site crew. We're Resite. We have secure foundations. We're Resite. Of course we're good stewards. Resite redefines the way site work is done. Contact us at resite.com. It's re-site.com.
Gotta love Recite. What's happening, Cat?
Hey man, listen, everything is great, man. I mean, did you have a chance to watch Raw last night?
I sure did. Watched every bit of it. 2.5 hours worth.
Do you think was it better than the last one?
No, it was not better than the last one. The first one was always going to be the best because you had all that star power. But it was a good Raw, though. It was a good Raw. I can't say anything bad about it.
Do you think they got the number that they were looking for? I think it would sound like 4 million or 5 million people watching.
5 million last week. Don't know what these numbers are yet, but they're going to have to talking about subscribing to the Nielsen rating so they can really get an accurate account of it. But we'll see. We'll know tomorrow.
Let me ask you this: Did they have any? And I should have watched it. But did they have any old school guys in there? OGs?
No, but Penta, the luchador that left AEW a few months ago, he debuted last night and beat Gable, Chad Gable. But it was a good match. People seem to love him. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. He's a masked luchador wrestler.
No,
Penta.
bro, he way back in Mexico. I've known him ever since he was young. I was just thinking about this, man, the other day, just reading up on it. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about the people look at me now and say, Cat, you in good shape, man. You in good shape. You still got it. I get up in the morning. I run 3 miles every day, cold, rain or while I run 3 miles. I go in, I lift weights, and I try to keep I'm not trying to get as big as I was back in WCW, but I try to keep my body some tone and in shape. So I hear somebody talking. What's that?
Well, I'm on a production site, man. That's all right. Keep going.
Yeah. So what we gonna have to do is wait a minute. You got me off with that production.
No, go ahead. You keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So what we want to do is this right here. We want to think about some of the guys in the way they conditioning, in the way they stay in shape, and some of the guys working out like that. Like for instance, I heard your boy Lex Luger come on last week and say it was the time he was clean. No drugs. It was the time he was clean. And I think he said the time he was clean was in WCW. He said he did steroid. He didn't do steroids in WWE, I think. But WCW was a little different.
Ooh, I don't know. Do you believe that?
Man, listen, the way that dude body looked, man, he put a lot of money into it. Him, Steiner, Rick Steiner,
Scott Steiner,
Goldberg, and Mark Henry. Goldberg's one of the strongest guys I ever met.
Whoa. What are you talking about, Mark Henry, though?
Mark Henry was a strong guy who stayed in the gym.
He's the world's strongest man, of course.
Bro, but you just do not believe. I'm gonna tell you a story. So me, I come from a karate background. Karate, you taught not to lift heavyweight. So you stay nice and lean. I get into WCW, and all they tell me is about you need to get strong. You need to get strong. So I start working my way up. I start doing a little heavier weight. And I finally got so proud of myself when I hit my first 315 on the bench. And I just happened to be in California at a gym with Mark Henry. and wasn't nobody in there but the two of us. Mark Henry walking on the backside, and he was picking up the smallest, lightest weight around. He was working out like he was damn working out with one of those with Billy Blank doing Tybo, lightweight. So I looked at him and I went to the bench, and I remember laying down on the bench. I said, okay, let me go 315. I said, Mark, can you watch me? He said, yeah. He came over to spot me. I hit 315 2 times. Man, I was so happy. I sat up on the bench and I was soaking it in. And then next thing you know, I hear Mark still talking to me. So I get up off the bench and I was about to go around to the backside, but Mark sat down on the bench. And I know I never seen the bench, but let me tell you something. He laid back. He was telling me this story about him and some people he met in Iran or somewhere, military base. And he said he just laid back without even a deep breath. He took the 315, put his hands on it, and he did the 315 about 50 times, talking to me.
Clean,
bang,
clean,
bang, clean, bang, bang. Just slow. No, not jerky. He did 3, and I was standing there looking at him, and I said to myself, ain't this a bitch? They just don't, nobody won't see you have fun. Nobody won't see you make it. Nobody won't see you reach your personal goal. When you do, somebody come and tear it down. Somebody
Mark
come and burn the bridge down.
Mark pissed on your parade that day. He just said, I'm gonna rip this out.
No, he wasn't even thinking about me like that. He's not like that. Mark is not like, he was just thinking and talking, and he was just in his own world, and we were just two friends, but he just happened to say, I ain't benched in a long time. He did it like 50 times, man, fast. I said, that's the strongest guy I ever seen. I never saw him work out with the heavyweight. I never saw him work out with heavyweight. But you know who I did see? We got a guy who's coming in, because we want to talk about, this guy had the best, to me, physically. He was the strongest guy I've ever met in wrestling, other than Mark Henry. This guy right here, I saw him pick up Rikishi straight up over his head, press, and put him down. Man, this guy was so strong, man. And he's a good guy, too. He's a businessman now. He left wrestling. You know, I think he's in the real estate. We're going to talk to him and see what he's doing now. But, you know, I like to call him Johnny the Bull, but he might want us to call him something else. Let's bring him in. Let's bring Johnny in to get this conversation going.
Welcome, Johnny the Bull. It says on this thing,
what's up, Johnny?
$200.
Johnny, let me ask you something. Do you want us to call you Johnny the Bull, or what do you want to be called, brother?
You call me Johnny.
Johnny.
My friends call me Johnny. You're my. I consider you my friend.
No,
even though you owe me $200 for 5 years.
Hey, bro, listen, you're gonna be 5 more years before you get that $200. Cause you bull, you know what mean. You tricked me into doing it. This dude is always he's in Arizona.
Yeah.
He called me up. I'm laying in the bed, half sleep, one Sunday.
2017.
He called me up and tried to make, he started talking. He baited me in first. He started talking a lot of crap.
Chicago Bears played the Falcons.
Yeah.
Falcons in Chicago. Falcons won, I think it was like 40. I think it was like, I don't know, 42 points or something like that.
Yeah. Lord. Bro, I don't know why I even say yes to that, but I will have sleep. And I told him the bet is on. And listen, look at him now. He just ran. I'm going to send you $200 one day, and you're going to be proud. And
you're probably going to send it to me in pennies.
You're going to take that $200. You know what you can do with that $200 I send you too.
Sure.
That's only an exit for me.
Oh, I know it. But listen here, Big Johnny. I'm glad you came on to the podcast, man. You know you're one of my favorite. And I think it was so much stuff those guys could have done with you guys, man. Because you guys, when you guys got into that mafia kind of Italian thing, bro, that was made in heaven for me. I enjoyed watching you guys.
Yeah, you're talking about the FBI, right?
The FBI, yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
full-blooded Italians, baby.
We got a big push from off of that. That was my favorite time in wrestling.
So, I mean, how did you get started? I mean, did you go through the power plant?
Yeah, so I worked out at Main Event. You know Main Event.
Yeah,
Sting
yeah.
and Luger's
Lex
gym.
Luger and Sting owned it, and a lot of the wrestlers were there, like Bagwell, DDP, Steiner Brothers, and I was 18, and I was in shape, but I was kind of a bad kid. Uh, so I met all those wrestlers, and I just got stabbed like 5 times,
Jesus.
and
Did you?
yeah, I got stabbed here, 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 and here, and I was like, I need to change my life. So I was always a wrestling fan, and I met all those wrestlers, and they're like, I was watching WCW, and I saw the power plant commercials that they had every week, and then DDP actually helped. I mean, after I went through the tryout, which was like 20 people in my tryout, and I was the only one that made it. Sarge had me laying in the floor in my own throw up, kicking my arms and legs back and forth, saying I'm a dying cockroach. And then I was the only one that made it. And then DDP actually helped me, with a bit of politicking, get on TV. And my first match was against Chuck Palumbo, where he super kicked me and knocked me out.
I mean, a shoot knockout.
No, it was an accident. It was the first time he had been practicing, it's the first time he used that super kick, and it was on me. And, he didn't pull it, and it knocked me out for like a second.
Just got you right on the chin.
But, it was on, I think it was on Saturday Night Wrestling, WCW.
But it just hit you right
match,
on the
very
button.
first match against each other.
Uh-huh.
And then we ended up, being a tag team together. With
Oh,
FTI.
yeah. I remember that tag team, man. And you worked with a couple of guys, though, in WCW, right?
Yeah, me and Big Vito, the Mama Lukes. That was fun, too. I still talk to Vito. He's always been good to me. I talked to a few people. I still talk to Chuck, Vito, Nunzio, Shelton Benjamin, Hurricane, Shane Holmes, Jindrak, Alan Funk. There's a lot of people at the power plant I still talk to.
Now, were you part of the young? What was it? Young Blood? Wasn't you part of that?
New Blood.
So after the Mama Lukes, we split up. They put me with the Natural Born Thrillers.
The Natural Born Thrillers. Yeah, that's what I love. You guys. Hey, let me tell you something. I get excited when you bring this up, man. Natural Born. You guys are like so much fun to work with. When I think I was the commissioner then.
You were the commissioner. You were entertaining, but you liked working us because you could throw potatoes and not pull your kicks. That's why you like working with us.
Who was in the Thrillers with you? Was that Shane Helms and Shannon Moore?
No, but you always looked out for the younger talent, and particularly me. I always remember that. I always looked up to you.
Yeah.
Because you all, we rode together a little bit, and you always gave us good advice, and I still remember that.
But remember,
all the power plant guys remember you for that reason.
but remember this, man. You remember some of those upper guys at a different level. They wouldn't work with nobody.
No, because they didn't want to. They didn't. I don't know. Maybe they thought we were too stiff, or maybe their egos. They wanted to work someone where they're gonna make money off of and not give us a rub to bring us up. It was really political back then. Everybody was protecting themselves. They didn't care about the team, which is why one of the reasons, many reasons why WCW went under. But they didn't try to elevate other people. They just worried about themselves. Whereas there was you and a few other people that really, really cared about, elevating the whole team.
But then they called those guys the Millionaires or something, the Millionaires Club.
Yeah.
And they were talking about people like Nash, Lex Luger, who else? And a lot of top name guys did not want to.
Hogan.
No,
Nash.
No.
Nash. I'll say that Nash. He protected the young guys too. He always pushed us too.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been complete opposite.
Yep.
You know, because he was one of the biggest stars there, if not the at the time. And he always, I got nothing but good things to say about Kevin Nash.
But I go back though, and Ray, you said Sting. Sting was never like that. Sting was always open to make the business better. He will
Thought you were
work with
talking
who.
about the angle
Yeah,
of those
yeah.
guys.
Sting was always, you know, he was one of my influencers when I, you know, just one of the guys that I talked to at the gym a lot, you know, because he owned the gym. So
Yeah.
he was always super approachable and nice, and you know, he was, in my opinion, one of the greatest to do it. So
So who did you not want to work with? Now let's go to who did you want to work with in the WCW days and time when you were there?
I was so new and slightly naive. I would say more than slightly naive. I was 19 years old, so I didn't care. I wanted to work with everybody, uh, you know, especially the NWO. But you know, I loved Goldberg. I loved his whole gimmick, and he was friends with my buddy Chase Tatum, Rip Chase Tatum. He was part of
Hey,
the.
hey, I got Chase in.
Huh? You got Chase in? Yeah, he was part of
Chase,
the
yeah.
No Limit Soldiers.
Man, you guys was a beast, man. When Chase was training me, when I first got in, they said you got to change your body. You got to change your body. You got to start lifting heavy. You got to get big and strong. Yeah. So he said you got to go find somebody. So I found Chase at this little gym in I forgot the name of the gym, but it was a small gym. He started training me.
It was like one of those old school gyms with like the powder everywhere and like a powerlifting gym. I know which one. I can't remember the name either, but it was like in Marietta or something.
Yeah, it was in Marietta. So Chase was looking so good. He was such a nice guy. Had a physique he was a monster.
Yeah, I saw him and Goldberg in the parking lot of Main Event, slinging each other around in the car. They were throwing each other into cars, and the cars were lifting up on their sides.
What were they doing?
Going back. They were just trying to outdo each other. They were playing, but they were you know two big lions in there going at it.
So who did you work? Let's talk about the biggest name you worked in WCW.
I mean, we had that angle with Terry Funk.
Oh
the Hardcore Championship belt.
Yeah.
And that's when I tore my bladder or my urethra.
Listen,
you told me not to do it.
Tell us. Hold on.
I thought I was indestructible.
Tell us about this right here. Tell us the story behind that, man. Because I told you, soon you told the booker, I can do this, I looked at you and said, don't do that.
Well, no, they came up to me and they asked me, what can I do off the top rope to the floor? I was like, what can I do? Like, I figured I could do anything. I thought I was indestructible. So, you know, I figured I knew I could jump high. So I was like, I can jump off the top rope and do a leg drop to the floor. And they're like, are you sure you want to do that? I was like, positive. Let me walk through it. I practiced it a little bit. I mean, you can't really walk through something like that. But the mistake that I made was when the time came, I always had to pee before I went out. I was always a little nervous. So I always had to pee. This time I didn't pee. So when I went out there, I had a full bladder. And when I jumped up to the top rope and came down, I jumped up, lost my balance, had to redo it and jump up again. And then I came down, and instead of like coming down and like breaking the fall with your feet and then coming down, I came straight down on my ass. Oh, and I think I broke because I put a chair on top of Terry Funk's head, and I think I broke his orbital. And that's when I pissed myself. I thought I broke my back, and I rolled over, and I was like, Terry, I'm hurt. You know, Terry was older. He was like, what? I'm like, I'm hurt. He rolls in the ring. And then I roll in the ring. I could barely stand up.
What did you do?
He goes, all right,
what did you do to yourself?
Let's go home.
Ray, hold on, Ray. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
So as I was rolling in to the ring, the finish was hit him in the head with a chair and DDT him on the chair. So I mean, we went straight into the finish. I ducked his chair shot, kicked him, grabbed the chair. I barely could do it. Hit him in the head with the chair, DDT'd him, and then they carried me out. And then I woke up in the emergency room. All the boys were there. Goldberg, Nash. I think you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
was there.
Well,
So I didn't have to have surgery. I just woke up and I had a catheter in me.
Oof.
yeah, but remember when you were calling that out, I was shaking my head to you. Nope, don't do
No,
it.
you told me not to do it. Yeah, you told me, and a few people. The booker, it wasn't when I came up with the idea. I forget who the booker was, but some people were hyping me up. Others, like you, that was smarting me up. Like, don't do it, don't do it. And of course, me being 20 years old and can't tell me nothing. I thought I was indestructible. I did it anyway, and then woke up in the hospital.
Wow. Now, when you went through that, I remember you stayed out for a while, right? Did you come back to WCW, or did you go
No,
back?
I was only out for 2 months because I didn't have to have surgery. The catheter allowed the bladder to heal. Like, it was just a partial tear.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I basically tore my dick. Like, it was a partial tear, the urethra to the bladder. So they just put the catheter in me, allowed it to heal, and then I was back at it 2 months in Australia, and I was wrestling the Wall. Who's another one? Rip Jerry Toot, the Wall. No.
How was it working the Wall?
I was wrestling. Who was I wrestling? They gave me a monkey flip. Oh, I was wrestling Alan Funk.
Alan Funk. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it gave me a monkey flip, and I over rotated, and then I came down and broke my fibula.
It feels like I remember that. It feels like I remember that.
Yeah, so it was back-to-back injuries.
Yeah.
So that's why it seems like I was out a while. And then I came back, and then we did the angle. I think we started the angle no, we dropped the straps to Chronic. We had the straps, and then that's when Bischoff came back.
Oh, good.
And then that's when we dropped the straps in like 30 seconds. Chronic came in and jobbed us out.
Wow.
And then they broke me and Vito up. And then that's when they put me in Natural Born Thrillers. And then we started working angles with Shane Helms and his crew.
Now was John Age there?
Yeah, he was still there.
How was it working with him?
I mean, I knew he was a scumbag. I knew, like, I was young, and he always would manipulate me and tell me I'm on the bubble and I need to do this, I need to get bigger, I need to do this and that. And then I could tell, like, even then he abused his power with some of the female wrestlers, and then he also abused his power with the male wrestlers because he treated them like shit. And I don't know anyone that liked him.
So I mean, who do you think he abused? What wrestler in particular names?
It was just known that he would abuse his power to get stuff from the girls. Like, it was just known. Like, I can't give one particular, because I don't know. Let me add the word allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, because I don't want to get in trouble. But allegedly, he was fucking off. He was abusing his power.
And it looked what it turned into in WWE. Was he up there? Was he there when you got there?
He was there, and he was the same Johnny Ace. I mean, he obviously saw talent in me, but at the same time, I was taught a certain way. At the power plant, they teach you how to bump and be in good shape and condition and put together a match, but they don't teach you how to call a match or just like improv it. You learn all that on the underground side, like Japan and Mexico, and doing underground shows. You don't just come out, because I was out of the power plant in 9 months. So I was on TV. So I didn't know what I was doing. I just went through the motions a lot of the time, and then I started learning, as it went on. But when I got to WWE, their style was different, so I had to go back to Cincinnati and Ohio Valley Wrestling with Cena and all them, and we ran shows in Louisville and in Cincinnati, back and forth. And that's how I learned WWE style, because WCW style was like you do a move and then like work the crowd and celebrate or whatever. WWE is like you stay on them from start to finish. You may add a little bit of character to it, but during the match, you're on them. You're reversing out of it. You're doing all kinds of stuff. It's nonstop. So I had to learn WWE style.
Did you
So
carry
then
the
they
same?
brought me back up, and they formed the FBI. Actually, no, I won the hardcore belt. That's when Bradshaw clotheslined me on the concrete, and my dumbass told him to lay it in. I called him a pussy because that's me. I'm an idiot sometimes. And I said, if you don't lay this clothesline in, what his clothesline was called, the clothesline from hell.
From hell, yeah.
So I'm over there talking to Bischoff for the segment. I just won the belt. It was when Falls counted anywhere backstage. I think I won it off of the Jeff Hardy. And then I'm standing there talking to Bischoff, and all of a sudden the door kicks in. I turn around, and then boom, clothesline from hell on the concrete. And that's how I won. I won the hardcore belt twice, I think, twice or three times.
Well, in WWE, right?
One time in WWE. So tag team champion in WCW, and then 2-time hardcore champion in WWE.
Well, tell me about that match you and Rikishi put together. How did you ever get in that position to have to try to pick up somebody that size into a body slam?
So everyone knew I was strong, and that was kind of the gimmick, pound for pound. Like, I'm not the tallest. I'm 6 foot, but pound for pound, I self-proclaimed myself as being the strongest in wrestling, pound for pound. So we started working the angle with FBI and, Taker. It started with Rikishi, and we were getting a big push, and then I was getting ready to wrestle Rikishi one-on-one, and Rikishi, who is one of my favorite people, he pulled me to the back, and he goes, "You think?" It was his idea. He goes, "You think you can press slam me?" I was like, "I don't know." He goes, "You want to try it?" So we tried it backstage, and I was able to do it fine. He goes, "Now can you do it on TV? Because you're in front of thousands of people. Can you do it on TV live?" I said, "I guess we're going to find out." So we get in the ring. I duck his clothesline. He bear hugs me, and then he goes, "You ready?" And I said, "Yep." And then I headbutted him, and then sold the headbutt as if it hurt me. Turned around. He came back around, and boom, right into it. So the hard part, the easy part is getting up to here. And then the hard part was like the second extension. Mm-hmm. And my leg was shaking a little bit, but I fully extended him and got over. I did it to Rikishi. I did it to his brother, Eddie Fatu, who was Umunga, rest in peace. I did it to Nathan. Every big man. I even did it to Big Show on a house show. They wouldn't let it. They wouldn't televise it, but I did it to Big Show on a house show. But after that match with Rikishi, that match pretty much made me. And as I was walking to the back through the gorilla position, Vince McMahon was giving me a standing ovation. Everybody in the back was standing up clapping. So that night, that pretty much made me.
I was there, brother. I was there, man. I mean, it was remarkable. I'm telling you, man, it was something that still stand out in maybe one of the things I remember most about my career and being in wrestling, because when you lift him up, the whole locker room back there, everybody mouth dropped. We couldn't believe that. Like I said, you wasn't huge, but you're not small.
Right.
You was a good size, and to show that kind of power was just incredible.
Yeah, I couldn't do it now. There's no way. I'm 47 years old. I haven't been to the gym in a year and a half. I don't even have a gym membership.
Quit lying. Why you
Nah, I
got
don't,
your why you got your shirt off now?
because I'm getting ready for work. One,
No,
two,
bro, you know what time we were gonna do this. How what you mean you getting ready for work? And it
because
just so happened you still got a six pack. You got your I mean, what's up?
I don't work out like I do in the morning. I do cardio. I do push-ups, sit-ups. Like I do like a military workout. I don't like Herschel Walker style. You don't do
Yeah.
weights or anything because my joints and my tendons are like I tore my tricep right there. See
Yeah,
that
I
scar
remember
there?
that. Yeah.
I tore my bicep snowboarding. I tore this tricep. See the knot right there? I tore that in a wrestling match. Like I went to hit the dude like with that Kishi driver. You know how Kish would pick them up and have their head straight down and then drop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I had my arm up under him, and then when I dropped, it just snapped it, and I felt it pop. I never got it fixed, so I don't really work out with weights anymore. I just do, calisthenics and light weights, if anything.
So you're a father now anyway, so you don't have time to really run to the gym yet. You're a
Well, no,
father. You got
I'm gonna like when he's 2 years old. Yeah, I'm a father. His name is Brody. Brody Carmine Hugger. Brody the Bull. Uh, he's once he gets a little older, I'm going to take him to the gym. First, I'm going to put him in gymnastics so he can learn how to use his body and roll around because kids, young kids, gymnastics is easy because it's fun. You don't have to really get technical with them. And then I may put him into some Muay Thai or something, definitely some wrestling. But I don't want to start him too early because I don't want to burn him out. So I want to just let him fill it out. But yeah, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. If I was still wrestling, I probably wouldn't be married and have my son right now. So things happen for a reason.
so what are you doing now then? Tell her what is John the Bull doing right now?
So I'm in finance on the real estate side. I do financing like mortgages, like purchases, refinance. I've been doing it on and off probably 12 years. I broke into business by doing like a lot of the wrestlers' loans. I did Bobby Lashley's loan. I did Charlie Haas's. I did Shelton Benjamin's. I did, man, there's so many. But that's how I broke into the business because I knew how they got paid. So I started doing their loan. MVP, I did his loan. Snitsky. Uh, I mean, it's probably Shelton Benjamin 2 or 3 times. Uh, so I stay in touch with a lot of them, but that's how I broke in. And now, like as soon as my last match was with Hurricane Helms in 2014, and as soon as I completely retired from wrestling, that's when I really started blowing up in the mortgage industry because once you focus, like I always had one foot in wrestling and one foot in finance, and then once I just retired from it, that's when my blessings started happening. That's when I started making good money at mortgages. That's when that's when I met my wife. And then, the rest is history. Now I got my son. So, and every doctor told me that I would never have a kid naturally. So, I took that challenge on. You know how stubborn I am. So, and he happened naturally. So it's a miracle.
I
Yeah.
thought Ray might want to ask you something.
Well, I don't know if he can hear
Oh,
me
that's
or
another
not.
thing. Speaking of Ray's one of my best friends, Ray Mysterio. Him and I still talk a lot. Every time he comes into town, he'll get me, he'll invite me backstage and I'll go back and see everybody. Recently, this was right before the last WrestleMania, not this past one, but the one before that. I went backstage and I ran into Brock, Cody, everybody. Everybody was cool. Brock was kind of like he was actually really cool, but when I just press slammed Rikishi, I was getting ready to wrestle Brock 1-on-1, and Vince McMahon told me that he wanted me to press everybody. So that he goes, that's your gimmick. I want you to press everybody. So I was getting ready to wrestle Brock. And Brock came up to me and he goes, Vince told me to tell you that you can't press me. I said, that doesn't sound right because he wants me to do that to everybody. I was like, you're beating me, right? He goes, yeah. I said, well, won't it look better if I like hit you with my move and then maybe you counter out of it or something? Like at least, at least let me do my gimmick. And he's like, oh, that's what Vince told me. So I went over to Vince, asked Vince, and Vince was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So someone was lying there. I think it was probably Brock.
Man, that business is crazy, man. Listen, I miss it, but then sometimes I don't miss it. I miss
I'm the
having
same as,
friends.
yeah, same.
Yeah, I miss having friends like you, man, and in the way we kind of had a great time on the road traveling together.
Yeah.
It was
The
just so much
camaraderie.
fun.
The
Yes, it's so
camaraderie.
much fun, man. But
Yeah.
if give me your worst time, let's say give me a bad time and a good time. What was the bad time for you in the business?
The worst time for me was
Other than your injury.
the worst time was in 2000 when the market collapsed for mortgages in 2008. I had to get back into wrestling full time, so I went to Mexico City and I wrestled at CMLL with Mark Jindrak. He was called Marco Coleone. So we put together the FBI in Mexico City, and I did Johnny Stamboli, and that part was fun, but all the in between stuff, the traveling, because I couldn't really speak Spanish. So I started learning because when you're around it, you have to. But that was probably, and I just got out of a 5-year relationship, so I was like a little messed up in the head. And then so I went to Mexico City, and it was like for a year I was an illegal immigrant in Mexico City. They wouldn't let me get my papers, so I'd have to pay the policia off every once in a while. But it was just I was alone. Like it was just lonely, just super lonely. And went all over Mexico, everywhere. And they had me on the cover of their magazine. This is when I left CMLL, went to AAA. They had the cover on their magazine, everything, but they kept me up under their thumb because they wanted to control me. If they gave me my papers, then they had less control. So they had me booked in Tijuana on Christmas Day and flew me back to Arizona, and I no showed it. I no showed the TJ show and wrote this long blog about how they treat the American wrestlers in triple A, and it spread, and the luchadors, and it spread through all the luchadors, and they were calling me up because I said everything that they couldn't say, and they were all thanking me. Essentially I burned a bridge, but I didn't care. I didn't want to go back there. So that was
Wow.
that was the worst time. The best time was probably FBI, when I was in the FBI with Chuck and Nunzio. And Shane McMahon was my boy at the time.
Oh yeah.
When Shane left, I kind of lost some leverage because in the booking meetings and stuff, him and Stephanie always pushed for me. And there was a few, the bookers that had Vince's ear too, that not everybody's going to like you. You know how it is. Mm-hmm. So, but I always had Shane and Stephanie pushing for me. But Shane was my biggest advocate. And then when he left, I lost a lot of leverage from that. If you don't play the political game right, it's not like you have 32 different teams in the NFL you can bounce around to. It's NFL or Japan or Mexico, pretty much.
Well, man, you did a great job, man. Your career while I was there, and I got to watch a bit of it. You did quite well in the wrestling business.
Yeah, I think I could have. I mean, I don't regret some of the things that I've done, but I think it could have went differently if certain people didn't have control. Like there's a good old boy back then anyway. It was kind of a good old boy like clique. And if you weren't like in the clique, and plus I was young and I was very opinionated. So you couldn't tell me nothing at the time. You know that.
Now, how did you identify that clique? I mean, first of all, to know it's a clique there, you had to recognize it. And then you had to identify what clique,
There was a few, like Chucky was really good at identifying it. And he would Chuck Palumbo. He'd always tell me to watch out for this guy. Undertaker, you know, he was basically the general of the locker room. He would always kind of smart me up too. Uh, I mean, Undertaker was probably one of my favorite people. I mean, I would try to sneak past him at the bar after hours, and he would always catch me and try to make me miss my flight the next day with shots of Jack Daniel. They actually took me to a wrestler's court one time, and I went to wrestler's court because Steven Regal was another. He always helped me out a lot too.
Great guy. Great guy.
Great guy. He walked in, saw me. I had a security guard carrying my bags into the locker room, and Regal was walking behind me, just shaking his head. I could hear him just going, you know, I can't believe this. You know how he talks.
Yeah.
So then he walked in on me again, and I had the trainer like. So before I know it, I'm getting summons to wrestler's court, and do everybody. So I bribed Undertaker with a bottle of Jack Daniels, Bradshaw with a bottle of Jim Beam. Steven Regal loves reptiles. So I got him this expensive book on reptiles. And then to get out of the heat, I hired Raven as my attorney because Raven had more heat than me. So as soon as we go to wrestler's court, they lock everyone's back there. They lock all the office out. And Undertaker goes, because you've done so much bribing, and you know Raven has more heat than you. We've dropped all charges on you, and now we're putting Raven on. Basically, they put Raven on the stand. Now he was getting prosecuted, so they dismissed me, let me go.
Wait a minute. What is this wrestling court? I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of wrestlers court? It's the way it's the way that they police us without all the wrestlers, without letting the office know, like without bringing the office into it. So Undertaker was the judge because he was running shit back there.
Yeah.
And you know, Bradshaw was his prosecuting attorney. Regal was the witness. And you know, I forget who told me to hire Raven as my attorney because he had more heat. I forget who it was, but it was brilliant because Undertaker saw how crafty I was with everything, so he liked it. So that's when he dropped all the charges. But they'll take people to wrestlers court like if someone's fucking up or being stupid. Mine wasn't as serious as some of the other people's that have gone to wrestlers court.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I know you got to get ready for work, but I just want to ask you this right here. What did you think of Hulk Hogan?
I never really, I mean, I talked to him a couple times. I never really spoke to him. I mean, I talked more to Rick Rude than him, and Rick Rude is another one. Macho, I mean, I don't know. He wasn't a dick to me. He just didn't really talk to me that much. So I don't have an opinion. I mean, growing up, he was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up.
But did you work with him when he was in WCW, right?
No, I never really worked with him. The only people in the NWO I worked with was you, Buff. I think I got power bombed by Kevin Nash, where he broke my favorite. I had this cool this steel FUBU. You remember FUBU?
Yeah.
But I had this belt, and I loved the belt, and it was all steel. And I remember running to the ring and Kevin Nash power bombing me and breaking it. But I never worked Hogan. I did some stuff with Ric Flair, which was also one of my favorites growing up, but never anything with Hogan.
How many years total did you spend in the business?
So when I left, I went to All Japan with Muda and Umaga and all them. Then I went to CMLL and AAA, and I did a stint at TNA, which I don't like to bring up because they didn't use it. That was when I was with the Relic character. They didn't use that Relic character, right? I created that character. I went backstage with WWE with that character. Vince saw it. He loved it. booked me on a tryout week, like a week tryout of house shows. I wrestled Val Venus. Everyone knew it was me, but still, the character looked so dope. And then standing ovation after. I mean, you can't have a bad match with Val Venus. Val Venus is an amazing worker. Like he's really good. So you can't have a bad match. So we had standing ovations after, and then the booking agent was Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson and I and me, Chuck and him had some beef back in the day, overseas.
Didn't y'all date the same girl?
No. No, he just didn't. They sent him home after we got in a big argument because he was drunk one night. Sent him home had to go to rehab for 6 months. So then he held that over my head. Lo and behold, a few years later, he's a booking agent on those shows. And then I was supposed to be on TV on Raw as a Relic character that Monday night. And his report to Stephanie was I didn't know the character, the Relic character, well enough. So that's when I left WWE, went to TNA with that character. They booked me in that thumbtack match with Abyss, Black Rain, and Raven. And I was the one that had to land in the thumbtacks. And then after that, they just kind of didn't use the character right. Like they put me in matches where it was like, that's a monster character. You can only it's a one-dimensional character. You can't be flopping around and doing shit in it. It's a monster character. So anyway, I took that character, and then that's when I went back to Mexico. So I'd say all in all about 14 years, because when I came back to Arizona, I started a wrestling school with me and my buddy Brian. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, we had a wrestling school. We had local television. We booked guys like Ricochet, Hurricane. Like a lot of the guys you see today, we had on the shows. We're flying them in because we had sponsors. And that's when I had my last match with Hurricane. That was in 2014. So I haven't wrestled a match since 2014.
You ever think about getting back in there one more match?
I mean, not. It has to be worth it. I'm not gonna. I think if I took a bump right now, I would just spontaneously combust. I haven't taken a bump or hitting a rope for that matter. Like the ropes. If you got to get calloused, you got to build a callus for that rope.
Yeah.
Rope.
Oh man, listen, I don't miss it at all, man. But I do miss guys like you, man. Good friends, seeing you every day on the road, traveling the road up and down, man. It was always good, man. And you know what? I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. Cat's Corner,
Thank you for inviting me. I always you were always one of the good ones.
Yeah, hey,
so I don't do these podcasts because I get hit up to do podcasts all the time. Mm-hmm. But yours is legit, and you're one of us. You're alumni and a good friend. So I mean that's why I did it.
Hey, bro, you did a great job, and people out there, man. You got a lot of fans out there, a lot of fans that recognize Johnny the Bull, the FBI. And whatever you was involved in, I just want to kind of have you on my platform. So if people want to know what Johnny the Bull is doing now or how to get in touch with you, what would be the best way, Johnny?
Well, if they want to get in touch with me, I mean, I'm open on IG. They send me a message and friend request. They can hit me up on IG. It's Johnny. It's Johnny. I think it's Johnny. I changed it so many times. It's Johnny Stamboli 3000, I believe. Facebook. I don't like to give my personal number out, but they can hit me up on socials. Okay. I'm not really. I don't know. I just get hit up for podcasts all the time, and I'm not trying to be a dick to people. There's not. I mean, there's just not any unless they're paying me. But even then, though, like I get hit up to go to do live events or autograph sessions, or it's just not worth it for me to travel for $1,000. It's just not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. Like I can make more than that at home.
And that's what I don't blame you for that, man. But shit, you look good. You look TV ready. It's like, and you well worth the money. Yeah, whatever people want to see, because people want to see you, man. And like I said, man, thanks for coming on the Cat's Corner. I'm not going to hold you any longer. But like I said, listen, brother, you're a brother, and I really respect that you came on, man, and good seeing you.
Good seeing you. Love you, bro. And I'll send you the Venmo for that 200.
Yeah, it'll get to you in 5 years. All right. I'll talk to you later, Johnny. Thank you,
All right,
man.
bro. Yeah, later.